So as you heard, I am Afrikan. Welcome to 30, I guess. How,
2 days, 3 days in.
unafilaje?
We are alive. That is the operative word.
Yeah.
Yeah, alive and well.
How do you feel being in
Being here
this
with
space and being in this?
It's been heartwarming. I know I left you guys on the what? Someone told me you have my tears. I said we are crying with you together. So yeah, I mean, just it's been a time of reflection. So even singing these songs, it takes me back. That's over 10 years ago. Like Fix You and Yellow and all those songs are old. Everglow is actually the newest one, and I was like, at that time, I never thought for the life of me that I would ever be performing music like this. For me, I was like, I'll hide in a studio actually because I'm so comfortable. No one is looking at me. I can just be there singing whatever I want. I can edit it. So eventually, like, I think the first time I ever did a show ever was 2014. And it was Ricky and Marafiki at Alliance Francaise. And when people were actually singing along and singing to my music, I was like, hiya. Okay, maybe. Then all of a sudden I was called to go to school. And so then I got to test it out there. And I was like, okay, maybe this is a thing. Maybe I can just, if I feel like, put music out. So being here now, and that's like almost 10 years ago, it also, like the other day I realized Aparo is like 10 years old. And that's also one of the first songs that ever came out for any music I've ever done. And seeing that it's aged like that. And I met someone who said, that's the song I listened to when I was in high school. I said, yeah, first I'm old. But then I was like, 10 years later, someone is now coming to tell me that I've inspired their journey. And for me, that's impact. And I might want to hide still, but it's nice to see that it's actually making a difference.
So after this, you can hide.
I will.
You have the reason to.
Yes.
So some quick ones before we delve deeper into the conversation.
Do it.
Currently, who's your favorite Kenyan musician?
Oh, lolo. Yeah, exactly. Costa Ojwang. Yeah. Well done.
And some moments ago, he was on stage at
At
Blankets.
Blankets, literally. Same day.
Who is the greatest singer of all time?
I don't have an answer. To TBH, just because I listen to so many kinds of singers, I enjoy different things about them. So on some days it might be Whitney, like everyone says. On other
There
days,
is the answer. There is the answer.
See? No. I have many favorites. So listen to who you like.
Your favorite Kenyan album ever?
There's an album which I don't think is available. It's one of the first ones my sister had, actually. It's called Lamo, and it was by VUC. Yeah. So I said, what? Your knee?
What's your best feature verse ever?
Mine.
To you.
Yo.
You've done many features.
Maybe Your Name with Noel Deritu.
Kuna fans.
So can we sing it today? Sorry, no, he's not here. Next time.
What do you love the most about yourself?
Good question about myself. I love that I seek to make the best out of crazy situations, good or bad, especially difficult sometimes, because I think there's always a brighter side to life.
And tying to that, what keeps you alive?
Hope in my Lord and Savior. Glory, truly though, but but hope, because the single thread that I've held onto in my entire life has been Jesus. So for me, it's faith. And that is what fuels my hope. Because I think life can be pretty sucky sometimes. And what I have held on to, what got me writing my first songs, was me just pouring out my heart to God and sharing my heart with Him. So, yeah.
Are there people here who, before they came for the show, searched for Lisa Oduor-Noah's debut album on DSPs and didn't find it as they were preparing for the show? Do you have...
It's back, I promise. Tomorrow, 3rd July.
So for those who have not bought your music...
Yes, you have not.
Why has it been unavailable for quite some time?
I'm sorting out some back-end things, actually just trying to get as you guys know, in our industry here, we don't have too many people fighting for you to get clearance. Okay, so I have a song called Mine, which is one of my favorites to sing, and it borrows, and it's an adaptation of Time After Time. So we were seeking to do that. So now, because hopefully this year I'll be putting out vinyl. So, so you need to get permission. Always seek permission before. But even when we did, it seems like one half of the people were like, "Yes, we want to give it to you," and the half were like, "No, never, ever, ever again." And it made me realize, like, Time After Time is, as it says, timeless. But I'm trying to honor what your music was putting it into mine, but not because I'm trying to exploit you. It's nice to see that I'm almost like, can you see that there's also a market here for that kind of thing, especially so in East Africa? And so it's very difficult for us to be like, I can't just Instagram Cindy Lauper because she probably doesn't use Instagram to be like, "Hi, I like your music. Can you please give me permission?" Even if it seems more accessible, but it's actually not in so many ways. So that's why.
What are the ways to solve such systemic challenges in our music industry?
Here, I think if you have a team or if you have a contact to someone who can do clearance, because I don't know people here who do. A lot of the people who I know, like for example, even Blinky gets his songs when he was signed to a label abroad, that's in France. That's where the clearing started. So it's not here. And I think that's some of the difficulty, because I can do a cover and you're like, "Yay, can you put it up?" No, I don't have permission. Okay. But I want to. So maybe you hear it here, even though it's a bit easier, like maybe in the States, to do that, although some people do it quite illegally. But now DSPs have started to put that in their interface, where they're like, "Is this a cover?" So then if it is, link us to the artist. But this isn't a DSP situation, because it's a bit easier to do that if guys know it's a cover and all the lyrics are the same. The only difference might be the tune, or key. So, yeah.
So if it comes back online, would that have been sorted out? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
So I don't know, wherever you are, whether it's good vibes or great wishes or prayers, pray. We want the song back up. So, yeah.
Some of us have the CD, so it's just okay if it's
unavailable. Well done. You said, I'm fine.
I am doing well. So you're back from Australia, and you had a number of shows lined up there. How was your experience there? Recently, there have been disheartening tales of artists of Rangietu traveling outside. Yeah. It's been problematic and very challenging. How was your experience? Traveling wise, and also the experiences at the shows that you performed.
So something I've learned over the last 2 times that I've gone, there's a lot of jargon in visas and like hidden things you don't see where you can be denied, even though like you're called from a body on that side. So the first time I actually applied from the Kenyan side, they're going to be very honest, transparent. So yeah, I applied from the Kenyan side and we waited 10 days only to be told that, we don't believe that you say that you're this creative artist person. I should actually pull it up and read it to you. And they're like, "We don't believe that you're saying that what you do is what you do and that you're going to stay for as long as you're going to stay." Now, bearing in mind, when we were reapplying now from the Australian side, there's something called a statutory declaration, which says, basically, if I sign this, I'm going for exactly the amount of time. And if I don't come back, I can be arrested, deported, etc. Right? So things like that are not even included. You don't know about them. And they say that it's to make it more preferential for Australian artists. But I'm like, but you guys have had Australian artists the whole time. Why would I be called by an organization based in Australia? But then it's the Kenyan side telling me I'm not an artist. So I'm like, okay, that's very interesting. And ironically, I waited for 10 days to get denied a visa from the Kenyan side. But when the Australian side reapplied for me, I got it in 3 hours. Yeah. So that's one thing. Then another thing is sometimes airlines being like, "Where's your return ticket?" or etc. Or "We'll call the border, hold on." So I had a terrible time this time with Qatar. And they stopped me at the airport. Now, when I talk about visa jargon, the Australian visa that I am on is I work with the entertainment visa, right? So there's no exact date of expiration. They say you can, so it's like valid from, so it was like say 25th October 2022 to 25th October 2023. Multiple entries, valid from first day of entry for 3 months. So in your head, if you know any other visas that are like this, you're like, that means I can come for 3 months, at least 90 days, right? No, it means I can, from the first day I arrive in Australia, for as long as I'm there, for 3 months, I can go and come. Now, if you're an African, you're not going to go and come and go back and forth to Australia. You go, you stay, when you're done, you come home. Because the tickets are ridiculously expensive. We had to fundraise, like, and you don't realize how expensive it is because, like, you get there and leave alone conversion. You're like, this ticket, it's like almost, like for one person is 250K. So I'm like, of course, I'm not going to go and come all the time. And you realize when you get there how unaware those guys are about it. Then they're like, it took you that long. You were denied. Because then they just everywhere, you know? And like they come, you literally go, you land in Doha and there's Australian, New Zealand, American, Canada, visas for, they just walk in, they scan, they go. By their merry way, you're in the line with everybody. You see like 15 desks for all other passports. And you realize also the strength of your passport because now you're being frozen because you're Kenyan. Yet you might be more frozen at the desk in Nairobi versus when you go out there, they lift your passport, they look at you, okay, have a good time, and you're gone. And so you're kind of like, why is it at home that someone is sitting behind a desk and has told me that what I'm doing is not actually what I'm doing? I'm like, did you Google, bro? And I'm not saying that arrogantly. It's just because one thing I checked was that I don't think there are many artists with my last name. So I'm like, even if you type Oduor-Noah, I promise you it'll come up. I promise. But at the same time, I'm like, did you actually do your due diligence instead of rejecting me because you need to fill a quota? You know, and fulfill an algorithm that says I need 40 people to not go, instead of actually being like, okay, this is an Australian-based organization. These guys are actually musicians. Cool, go. So it's shocking also to see on the other side when guys are like, we don't understand these visa problems, and you're like, you don't know what I have to go through to pile up, even leave alone for Australia, whether it's America or Europe. Sometimes you're just denied and you're just like, you're not going to refund me my money because you've denied me. Then you want me to appeal, and then you won't give me my money. You want me to appeal and pay again. So it's like, Allah, how much do you want to dig into our pocket, you know, just for money, but you're just going to turn me away and not allow me to expand the very career I'm trying to grow. So yeah, it can be quite unfair. And then you also realize, just as a Kenyan, how we need another passport.
Apart from those tribulations, the performances, did they pacify?
Yeah, they did. The one thing I'll say is, I think every Kenyan musician should be in front of a crowd who have no idea who you are, and you learn about relating to people. None of them can speak Swahili, Luo, nothing. And you say like, pole, pole, they say, pole, pole, you know, then someone will come and tell you a story. You know, we were climbing Mount Kilimanjaro and our porter was walking with us and we kept going so quickly and he told us, pole, pole. Then he starts laughing. Then I'm like, oh dear, what am I going to do here? So you see how even them, like these are people who, I think he was like in his 70s. I actually found a lot of older folks were coming for my gigs. Like there's a lady who, her and her husband came to, there's a place called Orange, and they came for that gig. And it was the most profound thing because they'd never heard my music before, didn't know who I was. And her husband came up to me and said, I love music and I've not heard something like this. And he started crying. And she said, she's French, I have never seen him this emotional. She was like, and next? And she put her hand on his shoulder and she's like, thank you so much. Where's your next show? Then I said, in Sydney, she said, we'll come. And I promise you, 3 hours away. They came to my last show, and funny enough, they are artists and they sponsor a jewelry maker who is indigenous. And they came and they gifted me and they said, we couldn't miss your last show. This is like 2 weeks apart. And they came 3 hours, like 3 to 4 hour drive to come and tell me, we just wanted to see you again. There was an old, I think he's Brazilian, and I finished the show and he barely even had teeth. I was so amused. And he came up to me and he said, I love percussion, And I was like, he's like, your music, it just made me think about what would I play here? Yeah, you're coming back, yeah? And I said, I can't. If you guys come back, he's like, no, come back. And he's like, and I told him, I'd love to, and I'd love to play it. And he's like, please come back so I can play my congas in your music. And I was like, this guy is my grandpa, but he wants to play, like, so giving. They want to listen to you. And I can't tell you how that changes you as a person. You're not like I don't know how to explain to people even the concept of influencing. It's barely there. Like, it's not like guys are called to a gig to come do videos or etc. Because of Gilbys and etc. Not that I'm hating.
Where? Okay.
I'm not hating.
Okay.
No, for real though. Like,
Okay.
people actually,
Okay,
if they're coming
Lisa.
to listen to you, they're coming to listen to you, whether they know your music or not. I went to watch a concert, and I didn't even know the musician. And the whole room was full of people, some who did, some who had no idea. Old, young, youth, like, it didn't matter. Guys just came and they were just listening and dancing. I was like, some of you guys don't even know what he's saying. His name is Obong Jayar, and he's a UK artist. And you see, I've said this name and you don't know, but this guy has played in a venue that seats over 1,000 people, and like 400 guys just stand up, some who didn't even know his music. So it taught me a lot about how we need to also show up for musicians in our country. Because do your folks come for gigs? Do you bring other people? Like, just if you could, like anyone, maybe your aunties or etc. Just because music isn't just mine, In my family, like, guys love music, but they also don't come for gigs. Many people don't come for gigs. I don't know if it's because it's the expense that's hindering people. But even when it's not, like, people pay 25 AUD, which is about 3K or more for a gig, but then they'll still buy your album while at that gig. And the album is 30. So I'm like, in one night they spend 5 to 6K. Yeah, you're like, 5 to 6K? We'll think about it. Then Boys to Men came, then you dropped 8K. Then you're like, Machapa.
Gonna beef? Gilbys, Boys to Men. What's happening?
No beef. No beef at all. But yeah, like, it's just that thing for, like, I think coming to support people genuinely, whether you know it or not, and being willing to listen to something that's different from what you like. So,
Miskia, bring your parents, your grandparents. It's the least we can do to undo the damage that the Kenyatta government and the Moi government did as far as arts and culture in this country.
True.
So the last one before we get into these questions, umeongelea kuhusu traveling and wewe ni alumnus of Berkeley. Do we know that? Our learned friend.
Thank you.
How has that influenced your career, and how have those experiences been for you?
So outside of an audience who is like pin drop silent and like who really wants to listen to you even if they have no idea who you are, I think putting any musician in a place where they are surrounded by excellence and people who are with you, people who are ahead of you, people who are coming in after you, and being immersed. One, it really chows down, it works up your insecurities, but then it also chows down in you helping you believe in yourself, because you start to realize we are all so different. Like, I was showing Lucas and Mark a video of that Obong Jaya guy's gig, and his guitarist is playing what sounds like Seben, but he's Jungu, and he's lived in the UK all his life. He's just like, I grew up with, and he's played with 2 people in that band for over 15 years. And they know him, they know his music, not because they've just done practice. They're like, I understand you. I enjoy your culture and I enjoy the music you make. So being in Berkeley, there were guys from everywhere. You have some Africans, there Indians, and the Indian society was huge. They would put on huge productions with some of their artists. And I asked myself, I was like, hey, Africans were not even coming together to bring anyone. But it's because we were so few. That's the other thing you realize. We were so few, maybe less than 20, if anything. And I'm not counting the guys who have African heritage or are African American. So for me, it made me realize like you have unlimited access to any instrument, any type of guitarist, any type of pianist, any type of drummer. Like it's amazing what you can do when you know that is not a hindrance. And studios, like there are people who would spend countless hours in studio, like from 12 to 6 a.m. You go to class, the guy is in studio again 6 p.m. and you're like, where are you sleeping? Like, are you sleeping in the studio as you work or something? But that's how devoted people would be. But you also see the flip side where guys are like, John Mayer did one semester, so I'm going to drop out as well, just like that. And you're like, the system doesn't work like that. It was helpful in seeing what happens when you apply yourself to your passion, but it's also a reality check because you realize even all of those musicians you look up to are just like you. One of the teachers for the bass instrument, like degree or specialization, I guess in the school, is Victor Wooten. And in the school, he's not, oh my God, Victor Wooten. He's not him. He's walking around like, I'm going to class. And I love that because you're not like, oh my God, it's a celebrity. Him is like, okay, open your books. We're going to look at picking styles on bass guitar. It completely distorts your idea of how far removed fame makes musicians from you. And I think that is something we all need because when people become famous, like Justin Bieber, he was a kid, right? And everyone is like, no, he shouldn't be acting like this. He's cute. I'm like, he's a kid. And the only reason you're speculating more is because his life is right in front of you. But if, let's say, I picked you and I put your life on display, wouldn't you feel like, geez, man, like everyone is watching me. Any decision I make is scrutinized, you know? But when I remember, this guy could have been in my class, like here with me, not as Justin Bieber, but hey, Justo, you know? He could have been that close to you. And it reminds you of the humanity behind all these people you look up to. Poets, musicians, whoever it is, even in business, they are human. They are not perfect. They never will be. Their music flows out of that, and their humanity is a part of it. So don't forget that. Yeah.
Interesting. Let's now get to these comments and questions and letters that you've written here. So someone asks, what do you imagine your career will look like when you feel most accomplished?
Maybe not being tied to the gig economy, just doing it when I feel like. Because a friend of mine and I were discussing how the thing that you love, when you now have to start pulling from it, like doing gigs you like, doing gigs you don't like, doing the gigs that exhaust you, 3 to 4 hour gigs and no one is paying you well and you have to haggle like it's toy, you start to feel like, I'm losing the reason why I enjoy doing this because now I'm just doing it so I can pay my bills. One of my teachers said there's a triangle. There's one which is, does it make you happy? Does it pay you enough? Is it for the music? And she's like, if you don't have at least 2, then don't do it. And now I'm like, so it's for the money and for the music. But then if I don't have music, so it has to be, it's making me happy or not. So if it's not making me happy, I shouldn't do it. But then someone will ask you, in this economy, and you're like, true. So when I can do it for the sake of doing it. And I think that's another thing I realized about Australia. Because there's some degree of comfort, you can, if you have a good team, and it's not because you have all the money in the world, you just get a good team, they free you of things that you don't have to do as the musician. You're free, you're left to create. I don't have to be my booking agent. I don't have to be my social media person. I don't have to be everything. I don't have to be the person who responds on Instagram. It allows me the space to think and to feel and to imagine again and do the thing that you guys actually like most about me, which is make music. And I think a lot of musicians, whether they say it or not, are pretty frustrated because you have to be and do everything. And we don't have any more room to just feel and write from our feelings, or we do it because you're like, hey, now we need to make a banger. But no, not every song will be a banger, and it's okay. It doesn't always have to be a certain way. Like we just need space to be able to enjoy that part again, enjoy the creation of this thing that we've been doing. Maybe we stumbled upon, or that we feel we were born to do. We just need the space.
Incidentally, during the break, you were talking with Linda and Traboli about the idea of having a manager and how that looks like in our context. So, and you've mentioned that as well. And as you've had economic problems, so buy the CDs, buy the vinyl, wasanii wafanye mziki vizuri.
Amen.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi.
Mine is just to say you are wonderful and just amazing.
Oh.
Really, really love your art.
Thank
Looking
you.
forward to hear more of you, and congratulations on doing your tour. Welcome home.
Thank you. Thank you.
The other one. Hi, Lisa.
Hi.
Is music something you've ever fallen out of love with?
Oh, yeah.
Easy.
Oh, yeah. Like in COVID, everyone would ask, so are you going to do a live? Are you going to do this? I said, nope. I think not even now that I was so sad. I think I just didn't have room to be on every week and pushing my music. Not because what other guys was doing was bad, but I just, for myself, I was like, hey, I don't think I have the strength to give to doing that. I just want to be at home with my family. I actually didn't listen to much music as well. And you'll find, like, for many of us who might be so immersed in music, sometimes it even gets hard. Someone's like, have you heard Nani's album? Nope. Not at all. And you find I listen to it like maybe a year or 2 years later, because now I have space to listen. People don't realize how chocked full your life is of music, that you're still a person. And even I want to listen to music that I like. And you find, like, I was telling someone, my music palette hasn't changed much. I'll find one song, I'll listen. Then when I'm tired, I'll be like, okay, find another one. Then, okay, I like this one. Okay, I'll stay there. Or I'll go back to really old music that I really like because of the nostalgia and the freedom of being like, these guys were just making music because they wanted to. And they did it for as long as they could. Then they said, hey, maybe let's go get a job, for some of them, or if they passed away, So I have, and I don't apologize for it, because it's okay. Because at some point, you fall back in love with it again. Like, after making the album, someone asked me, like, I think 4 months later, so when's the next one? I said, I don't even have it. I don't have the songs. I don't have them. And I was like, because it's almost as though when I release that body of work, for me, I'm like, I've lived a whole life with that music before you guys meet it, And now when it's coming out, you're experiencing who I was, who I am presently as the musician, and then I'll perform those songs for you over and over and over. And then I'm kind of like, I don't even have time for me to start processing new music. And it's been coming in bits and pieces. Now, as the album has aged, like, I've been writing more so towards, like, the 10th or 11th month. And I'm like, it's not even complete, but I'm okay with that. And I'm okay with letting the music come out when it can. When I have built it, when I have lived it, when the stories have become real to me, and now I'm like, I can share them. And when I do, even then, I'll be able to look at now both bodies of work and be like, okay, cool. We're growing, we're changing. And I didn't like music at some point, and I didn't have these songs, but now I do. So, yeah.
As a music reviewer, I envy your freedom of not being able or having to listen to music for a long time.
You don't have a choice. I'm so sorry.
It's an option.
Yeah.
Your voice is like butter.
Oh.
It's like a hug in sound. No, wait, a sonic hug.
Come on, description. Wow.
Thank you for
Are you a writer?
Thank you for sharing your light and heart with us. Is this read as Bena?
Bena. I know her.
Bena.
Yay. Thank you. Thank you for coming, friend.
And then, will you sing more songs in
Yes.
Luo? Love it.
Yes. Actually, like you. Actually, a lot of, I don't know if it's an album, a lot of the new songs I've been writing have a lot more Luo. Because there's some things I feel like Like if I wanted to say the sun fell on my head, in English it sounds like, what does that even mean? But if I say cheng po de wuya, it sounds cool, right? But it also, I feel like it almost emphasizes when I say podo, it sounds like I've actually fallen, you know? And I'm not necessarily talking about the sun, but I'm actually talking about like how joy can set on your life, right? And or fell upon me, you know? So, and I feel like Luo sometimes does that. For instance, when I was saying, it sounds silly in English, say chemoko gimadwaro en in kende. Sometimes the only thing I want is you. And I say, but then all the time, the only thing I want is you. Yeah. So you're like, you're saying the same thing. I was like, no, I'm actually talking about like, you're not my favorite thing all the time. I don't like being around you. I want my space. But I actually, even in the midst of my separation, I'm still thinking of you. I still want to be around you. I still care for you. Yeah.
And then interestingly, kwa this note, msema andika nyuma reviews, and we're just talking about reviews as well, the previous, the feedback. And then what is the story behind Jadala? And how easy or hard is it to write songs in your mother tongue?
Now, Jeng sounds different dependent on which area of Nyanza you're from. So I can say something a certain way, and then someone from Ugenya can be like, Ati. So that's sometimes the difficulty. And then also because I feel like I maybe need to go to Kisumu like for 2 weeks and just stay and not listen to any English or anything and be a bit more submerged. Because like we are born Tao, you know, it's my folks actually. Before my grandma died, I was hoping to come home and ask her certain things. So I've been asking my auntie and some of my aunties like what certain animals, what certain phrases are or sayings are, just to beef up the knowledge. Like the pal who I talk to mostly in Jeng, just so I can not just not forget the language, but also remind myself like this is the fluidity of what it sounds like when you speak it and when you sing it, you know. A lot of people know a Yubagada song, Auma Buija. But if I say it as if it's not being sung, it's Auma Beuinja. Yeah. It's like, Auma, do you hear me? You know, Koth Biro, Keluru Dok Edala, but Keluru Dok Edala, not Dok. Yeah. Because he's saying, bring the cattle home. Yeah. So it's very different when I'm speaking. And you know that people say we speak with emphasis, for lack of a better time. Because if I say, Auma Beuinja, Kothbiro keluru doke dala. That's what it sounds like when I'm speaking. But when I'm singing, I'm saying, Auma buija kothbiro keluru doke dala. Yeah, it's so different, but you feel almost the weight of his words differently. Yeah, so I'm definitely going to write. Most of the songs are in Jane. Actually, and Jadala, yes. So actually, Jadala is. Those are all terms of endearment in Jane. Jadala is like almost saying someone of home, but I was like, not particularly someone of home. I'd be like someone who knows where I'm from. And I say Jaoda, it sounds like someone of the house. But then for me, I was like someone who understands my values and things like that. Then there's Jabatha. Badi is your arm. So when I say Bath, means the person who's by my side. And then Jahera, you know, which can say Jaherana is like saying the one who has my love. But if I say Jahera, for me, I'd like to think the one who my love belongs to. Because it's Jah is the person and Hera is love, the person of love. Yeah.
Yay to Orecha.
Yes.
Someone. And also, how many of us know Labdi? Yes, so we had a discussion with Labdi and talking about their EP as Unganisha Kucheza.
Yeah.
And she said the same thing about the Luo and impact here, the Luo, as compared to when you're saying certain things in English. And you said literally the same thing as well.
Because, like, let me give you an example. So when you touch water that's really hot, what do? Yeah, you do, right? Or it's like, hey, it's hot, yeah? Or like eating potatoes, like that, yeah? What do we say when water is hot? We say, piliet, ha. Yeah, but then if it's cold, we say, pingich, ti. So why ti? Because you shiver, like that. So just like that, instead of me saying just, hey, I'm feeling cold, you know? I'm almost emphasizing how cold it is by saying, pingich, ti. Yeah.
This has turned into a linguistics class.
Yeah.
One of the theories of origin of language is onomatopoeia, for those who know.
There you go.
So someone asks, where were you living before Kenya?
In Kenya, but I've lived in the States. I've lived in a few places in the States, and yeah, that was for school. It was a lot of fun.
And then I saw you have a song with Maro, I believe, yes. Have you collabed with any other Western artists?
Yeah, there's a guy called Ariza. I've also collaborated with I Am San. I've also collaborated with, and for Ariza, we did some songs for Facebook. Like it was like a work for hire. And funny enough, was it UFC Barcelona ended up sharing my song on their Instagram. So I was like, hey, kumbe, unasikianga mziki? Not knowing at all what it means. So yeah, there are a couple of people, other folks in the States. In Australia, we're trying to get some folks on. I met some really cool musicians there who are just like, when can we come to Kenya? And I'm like, we just find the money first, but you can come at all times.
Yes, I was to say it's easier for them to come than you.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, it's okay. We have no problem bringing you.
Someone says, please sing either Apologies or Oasis on Mbaazi Street. Pretty please.
Maybe not today. Apology, maybe we'll sing together quietly. But I'm not being shady, I promise. We just haven't put that song. Maybe the next time I throw a gig, which let's hope is soon, I can do it and take you guys on a journey.
Serendipity again. Someone says, what does Oasis on Mbaazi Street mean to you?
Oh, it's a song about home. My folks live at a place called Oasis, or lived at a place. I can't tell you because they're not there anymore. So, yeah, my folks lived at a place called Oasis, and it was on a street called Mbaazi Road. And then when I missed home, I thought about writing a song that's, the song form is like but then the tagline is the Oasis on Mbaazi Street. It's a type of songwriting. So I was like, I want to write an ode about being at home and missing home and the things that are familiar to me. And how much, I think I sang it for the first time live in Australia, actually. And I cried on stage because I was like, my folks don't live in Nairobi anymore. And it's making me realize how much my lives are changing and how my folks are aging. But I wrote the song to remind me of that place because that was the first place I'd moved after where I grew up. And until now, where I now live with my sister. So, yeah, it was my ode to home and my parents.
Which local Kenyan artists do you want to work with in the future?
Hey, well, Costa. I worked with Blinky, so that's cool. He's cool peeps. I like Jerai. We did a song together with Jerai on her. She has a show on YouTube. Let's see.
Rave.
Yeah, the rave. Thank you. We did that last year. I need to think. I like Mordecai's writing a lot. From Heart the Band. Okelo's fun too. So much fun. Yeah, I'll think some more because I've actually worked with a few, but maybe not in me being a feature. I've worked on their stuff, like for June, for Atemi, for a bunch of people. So yeah, maybe like that. I think I'd like to collaborate in that way, but I wonder who else I could arrange for in terms of vocal stuff. So that should be interesting.
I feel as if you and Costa can create such a powerful spiritual song.
Someone tell Costa to call me.
Some text after this. Lisa, how do you stay so calm and grounded?
Wow. Again, like I said, we cling to the rock that is higher than I. That, and also I guess, I don't know. I used to, if you knew me from some of the first times I ever sang, I used to sing with my eyes closed completely, stay in one spot and not move and just sing. And someone said, why so much volume coming from such a small body? And then I had a teacher who taught me that your audience are like your guests and you're welcoming them into your living room. And you choose how long they stay for the most part, unless they're like your bestest friends who they live and stay over. But you also choose how to receive them. And that helped me because it made me realize they're actually here to be with you. not that they're staring at you and just like, that note was off. I don't know, they're actually here with you and for you and to be with you. And that helps a lot in performance. But for the most part, yeah, it's faith. I told you life is hard and there's a lot of things we can't explain. And I've been realizing more that our frustrations come from not having predictability. Because there's a lot, very little that you control in your life. Maybe the most you control are your choices. But you have to make peace with the ones which you make, which are not necessarily the greatest, some which are great, some which are great but involve a lot of work and it's frustrating, some which are terrible, but you end up learning a lot from them. So, yeah.
Don't feel left out for those of us who thrive and revel in unpredictability. I am with you. Amongeza kisema, what is your favorite song? And then lots of love, your voice feels like sunshine.
Oh, thank you.
Favorite song? Do you
Favorite
have?
song. Right now, let me open Spotify. What is on loop? So I was listening to what's her name? There we go. I've already done. Emily King's new album has been really nice. I really enjoy her producer is called J Most. I really like what he does with vocals and production. I've also been listening to these guys called Cartoons. Very yummy music. Let's see what's on this. Let me look at this playlist. Let me see my most recent addition. Okay, yeah, the most recent was there's a chick called OG. She's very interesting. OGI. And she's been blowing up a bit more. And I really like her play of phrasing and stuff. So that's what I've been listening to right now.
When are you at your songwriting best? What gets you in the zone?
I don't think I have a best. I write when, let's say, something impacts me. So you find I have many notes on my phone which are not finished. But sometimes it's just being in nature, to be honest. That's one of the things I really appreciated about Australia. They have so many parks and so many trees. Like the city, Sydney has like this enormous park called the Centennial Park. And it is so green and so peaceful. And it's huge because on one side you have people having a big gig, and then on the other side it's like a path and there's water. And so just being in nature for me, like it just calms everything, turns all the volume down.
So some of this we had touched on grounding, on the music industry. But there's here, what is a tip for someone looking to follow your footsteps?
Follow my footsteps. Create your own. Because I think it's the same way, like when people come and say, I want to learn to sing like you, I'm like, I actually don't know how to teach that. I can only teach you how to sound and be happy with sounding the way you sound. And being comfortable and loving the way you sound. You are never supposed to be like me or take the exact same. Otherwise, that doesn't make you you. And I say create your own because I'm like, I have no idea what opportunities or experiences you might encounter, but I hope that when you face them, maybe you've seen that I've chosen to do something or chosen to not keep releasing music every other day, and I'm timing it differently. Maybe you can look at that and be like, okay, that's different. Maybe I want to employ some of that, but then I also have a bunch of hits that I feel like I want to put out. So maybe I can do that and then measure also for myself how often I feel like doing that. I hope I can be an example to learn from, but not necessarily that you have to do what I did. Yeah.
Mesema to follow Nyayo philosophy.
What a Nyayo.
Exactly. We've touched on a majority of this. They say you mentioned your album or tracks from it were unavailable and are soon to be released and available for our listening pleasure. Could you tell us the story behind that? I think you did. And the good, the bad, the uncontrollable, the unknown of the process that resulted in it all. Long story short, your experience with publishing and releasing and distributing music. Anything that you can add?
Anything that I can add, if you can become your own, if you can, figure out how to own your publishing. You can do things like, I don't know if it's as easily again here, but if someone approaches you, ownership will help you make money over time if you want to make money, because if you give away majority of your rights to your music, or you have like an agency which wants to take majority, you earn very little. And the thing about a lot of longevity in music, for example, let's look at Babyface. Babyface wrote so much music that we love from the 90s. So much. Boys to Men, Tony Braxton. Majority of the songs were written by him. But how did he make money even if he's not the one performing them? He has songwriter royalties, and he still gets a portion of that every time. So it's almost like he can't go broke. Every Tevin Campbell song, majority of them, he wrote them. So can we talk every time you listen to it, he earns money. So things like that for publishing, even if you own your own publishing, even if someone wants to exploit it, you can actually, your terms, dependent on your terms and how well they will best exploit it, you can create agreements where, I mean, if you can exploit it better than them, you take a larger share. But if you give them, like, don't give to the point where you're like, hey, and it's to the best of their abilities. Always remember that. Don't give a portion where you end up losing control. Because you want your catalog to keep earning you money. Because you find that even a lot of musicians sell their catalogs and then make even more money from that. Now, our economy doesn't necessarily have that in place. Like, for example, I don't know who has bought, like, for example, the Ogopa catalog. It plays everywhere. Everywhere. There's no DJ in this Nairobi who has not, you're expecting Boomba Train somewhere if you go out, or an Issa song. So I was wondering the other day, who owns the rights to his music? And if his family does, is it being exploited to the best of its ability? You look at these guys who bring up legacy albums after so many years, like MJ, for example. Like, we have all of his albums. Each vinyl has gone up in value over time, and then he has a legacy album which is still appreciating in value, which has all of the songs from those albums still and new ones. So he's still earning off that and all of the rest. So I don't think we yet know how to do that, and I think that would change a lot for musicians here, and also giving people the credit they deserve and the ownership in their songs. Yeah.
Establishing of systems. Those have been in-depth questions. Thank you for sending them through. Thank you for your time and for listening. This podcast is available on Spotify under Cheche Pod, and you can find all the other sessions as well. And you can find Cheche on Instagram as Cheche Sessions and everywhere else. And the performances are also available. Anaitwa Afrikan. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you,
I
Afrikan.
remember tukipatana Gecko beginning of last year. After that conversation, I said I would want to interview artists and talk with artists, and
Here you
this
are.
has happened. Thank you so much.
Thank you.